Hi, good evening. It's Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You, and tonight I am excited to share with you the new yarn from Noro. It's the second of their three new yarns for this season, and it is called Rikka, and it's very beautiful, and I'm excited to share it with you. But before I do that, I wanted to follow up on last week when we talked about Hunui cotton. So I managed to get my sound on and my second camera on so I can show that to you. And let me just look real quick and see who's joined us. Hi, Sandy. Hey, Holly. I'm glad you want to see the new Nora. I'm excited too. Hi, Donna and Gwen. Okay. Yes. Hey, Rita. All right, Holly. So now you can hear me, right? Just tell me in the chat, make sure. So as I said, I wanted to follow up and show you the Hunui cotton swatch that I did after it had been blocked. So when I do these presentations, you know, I always start with a needle much smaller than recommended, and I work a swatch all the way up through the different needle sizes to a needle that's much larger than is recommended. And you can see that the fabric changes considerably with that shift. So even though the fabric is light and loose, once you block it, and this is not unique to Noro, but especially true with Noro, once you block it, the fibers really swell and bloom. So you get a completely different fabric than it was before it was blocked. So, all right, good. Our sound is good. So let me share with you the Hunui cotton swatch, especially at the looser gauge. Let me share that with you. Okay, so this is the Hunui cotton, and you can see down here I had knit it at a very tight gauge, a little tighter than was recommended for the worsted, you know, and on up through the different needles, all the way up to here, where it's at about 7 stitches over 4 inches, which is much looser than recommended for Hunui cotton, which is a worsted weight yarn. But as you can see, once it's blocked, those fibers have really swollen and blossomed into a very plushy fabric. It's still loose. You can see here in the camera, you can see through it. Can you see my fingers sort of through it? But it's still wearable. You know, you wouldn't get arrested if you wore this. Anyway, it makes a huge difference, especially with Noro when you block the fibers. I did not soak this. I steamed it, as I always do. I always steam block things because one, it's quicker, and two, I think it just, you know, really gives you a sense of how it's gonna look, and you don't run the risk of stretching it out. So let's see what Barbara had to say. Yay! I'm glad you want a present, Barbara. That's wonderful. Good. Hey, everybody again. Hey, Lee Ann. Hey, Ann. Nice to see you guys. Okay, so that is the Hunui cotton from last week. So this week, the yarn that I want to talk about is called Rikka. And Rikka is a bulky weight yarn, so definitely a cozy yarn. And for those of you who are familiar with the now discontinued Noro yarn called Tennen, Rikka has a very, very similar fiber composition. I'm going to read it from the block here. It is 57% wool, 22% alpaca, and 21% silk. So that alpaca in it makes it really soft. 22% doesn't sound like a lot, I know. But when you consider the fact that when they're calculating these fiber composition percentages, they're doing it by weight. So alpaca fiber is much, much lighter than wool. So when you think about 22%, the volume of 22% alpaca is going to be really, really large. So even though it's a small amount, it still really impacts the fiber to a great extent. And so it does, as with the tenon, make for a very, very soft and plushy fabric that's just absolutely a joy to knit. I know because I've been knitting it all day. It is recommended to be knit on a, they say, I believe, a US 8 to 10. Let's see what they say here. Yep, they're recommending on the ball band a needle size of US 8 to 10, so 5 millimeters to 6 millimeters. So as per usual, I tried it on a much smaller needle and I found it to be very tight, and just worked up. So I will show you what it looks like. So it comes in the big 200-gram balls, and it has 352 yards. So it's a nice sized yarn. All right, so let's look at what it looks like. Okay, so here is my beautiful Rikka swatch. So let's go ahead and measure this. See if I can get this a little closer. I'm going to measure it and see what the gauge actually is. I haven't measured the gauge, so we'll just do it together. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Lost my place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here it is at 4 stitches to the inch. And it is a very thick and a very plushy fabric at this gauge. Very pretty, but definitely stiff. You can see that this fabric at this gauge really sort of stands up by itself. And this next one isn't going to be too terribly different, but so let's go on up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Closer to 7 stitches in 2 inches, so 14 stitches, which is closer to what I think is their kind of recommended gauge. And this is a very nice fabric. It's plushy, but it doesn't feel stiff. Okay. And you can see with the Rikka, it does have a lot of thick and thin characteristics to it, which I think is very pretty. You're going to notice that, of course, more on the back. All right, to the gauges. So this is where I went all the way up to a US 11. And that I expect is going to be about 3 to the inch for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even a little looser than that, because I'm pretty sure I'm on 11s here. Yep, these are 11s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5.5 for me, but this is probably about as loose as you would want to go with this yarn. But it is very soft, and that's something to consider if you like cozy yarns, but you don't necessarily like things that are real heavy. Let's see what this gauge is on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is closer to your standard bulky gauge of 3 to the inch. And this is a very nice fabric. This is the fabric, this is the gauge at which Cocoknits Emma is knit. And I think this is a solid option for a Cocoknits Emma, in case you are interested. Beautiful, beautiful. And wanted to answer a couple questions that we've gotten here. Yes, it is much, much softer after it's been blocked. When you put that steam or even water into the fabric, all of those fibers that have been twisted in the spin and then further twisted in the knitting, the water allows them, they absorb it and it allows them to redistribute the twist. So they're not quite as tightly twisted and they're just more plushy. So yes, it's much softer. And if you have any kind of a fiber in there like the cotton in the Hanui cotton or the alpaca in this, they're going to puff up a little bit more after they've been blocked. So yeah, blocking definitely makes the fabric softer. Let's see. Hey, Ronnie, does it pop a lot? Let's see. Question, does it pop a lot? Pill a lot. Okay, so it shouldn't pill a lot. Now, this is a brand new yarn. I have not knit a garment and worn it, but generally I find that Noro does not pill as much as other garments. I'm wearing a sweater tonight that I made probably 11 years ago. I think we did a class on it, and it hasn't pilled at all. So I think Noro tends not to pill so much as other yarns. You know, I always say that the softer the yarn, the more likely it is to pill. The firmer the yarn or the less soft, the more durable it is. So softness and durability are at opposite ends of the same spectrum. So generally, I think you're not going to get as much pilling with Noro as you will with, say, a beautiful Italian merino, which is not to say that you shouldn't knit with a beautiful Italian merino. You just need to know that those kinds of fibers are going to pill a bit more. So I love this. I like it so much more than I had anticipated liking it. Personally, I love this. I love the thick and thin that you get. I love the texture in the yarn. And like the Hanui cotton, I tend to think this would be very pretty in a reverse stockinette garment. And I love the way the colors are arranged. This almost looks like one of those fades. Do you know what I mean? Let me show you on the other camera. I think the color might be better. This to me sort of feels like a fade, right? With the way the colors shift. Isn't that pretty? So it's very nice. And it also would be great, you know, I always am thinking in terms of sweaters, but it would also be great for accessories. You know, this would make a beautiful hat. There's a pattern in the new Noro magazine for an entrelac cowl. I think it would be just lovely, and also in homewares. So let's see. Can you say that color again? Can I show the color again? This one? Here, let me move that. So it has so many different colors in it. I mean, each of the yarns does. And let me go ahead and show you the colors too. So I think that's really fun. So that's the one I'm knitting from. I'll show you it here. Okay, so the one that I'm knitting from is color, gosh, I need my glasses for everything. Color 5. And so it's definitely red and blue. I think in the camera it's showing a little bit, well, there is purple. Yeah. So red and blue and purple and a little bit of this acid yellow. Can you see that? I think that's a really pretty color too. All right. Okay, so that is color 5. And I don't have these in any particular order. My apologies. This one is very pretty. This is very very earthy looking. This one is color 11. And this is definitely, you know, blues and sort of warm grays and cream. And the red that's in there is very, very warm. This is a really pretty color. The name of the color. Why are you asking me these hard questions? Sorry, I don't have the name of the color, but I will tell you that they are on the website with their names, I believe. And I can look it up here before we go, but I do want to show you the colors before we get all caught up in the names. Okay. And then this one, this is very, very neutral. And Noro has done well with this palette in the past. You know, Silk Garden color 269 is very popular. Silk Garden Sock has this kind of color. They call this color 10. I'm sure it has a name, but I don't know what it is. Very, very neutral. Very creamy, kind of, you know, cool browns, a little bit of warmth in there here, but a very, very pretty, lovely color palette. For people who tend to shy away from Noro, and I know that's not you because you're here watching the video about Noro, and obviously you like Noro. But for people who are a little anxious about the colors in Noro, this is always a safe bet. You know, there's a little subtle shift, but the colors are just so subtle, you know. So and who doesn't love neutrals, right? They're very elegant and timeless. So that's a pretty one, and that again is color 10. Boop. Okay, this is a fun one for you green lovers. I'm looking at you, Megs. This is color 8. This is just a riot of fun green. So there's this kind of a blue green, there's that acid green, there's a yellow, there's even a little bit of kind of a purple in there. Can you see that? It's so pretty. And it's really hard to tell, I know, how the thing is going to knit up. So that's why I like to put in the swatches, you know, the picture of the thing swatched. But you can get a sense of it, I think, from this. You see how the colors play against each other, and they're almost marled with that little bit of white that runs consistently through, and that really gives it a consistent fade. The fade is the only term I can think of that it reminds me of how we've done so many of those cardigans where you've got, you know, different colors of hand dyes that sort of fade into this or that speckle. This gives you a similar kind of feel when it's knitted up. So this green one is color 8. And okay, so this one, I put the garment on that I'm wearing because this color reminds me of it. This is probably the brightest of the lot. This is color 4, really pretty. This has, you know, hot pink and salmon and turquoise and rust and like a burgundy color. So many colors. It's just a riot of colors going on in here. I think they're absolutely, absolutely lovely. Really, really fun. This is the most Noro-y of all of the colors. And it even has some black in there. And I think when you have a black in a Noro like this, you know, I think that is absolutely makes it more wearable because, you know, then you can pull on some black pants and then you have this sweater that's obviously going to be a statement piece. But it just looks really great. And let me just tell you, this feels so soft. The alpaca really makes itself known. And the silk gives it just a little bit of sheen. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I believe what they have done is to blend and dye the wool and alpaca together and keep the silk in the natural white. And that's what makes the little bit of a marled transition all the way through. It's a very attractive effect. And so what you see in the white there is the silk. I could be wrong, but that's what I think because that's what they did with the Hanui silk. So if I had to make a guess or make a bet, and I'm not a betting woman, that's what I would bet. Did I tell you what color that one was? This one was, yeah, color 4 is that bright one. Okay, somebody earlier mentioned beach house. Okay, this to me says beach house all over. This is color 12. This is just beautiful blue and sand color. I think this is so lovely. Just beautiful. Yeah. Thank you guys for telling me what you love. I love seeing your comments. It makes me so happy. Yeah, these are beautiful. I can see this is definitely very, very wearable, but I could also see like a blanket in this. It would be so cozy and it would knit up so fast. It would be just amazing. Even just like a little lap throw. You could do the Cavendish stitch pattern in this. Oh, this would be so pretty. Yeah, this is gorgeous. If you wear a lot of denim, this would be great because this has all of those really pretty denim-y kinds of tones. You know, whether you wear wash denim or dark denim or black denim. I'm a huge black denim fan. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, and the last one is color 7. This is beautiful purple. Look at all the great colors of purple in there. So there's the dark purple, and then it fades to this sort of lavender. And can you see how that you get that little splotch of it sticking out there? Very pretty. There's red in there and black, all beautiful. And they have sort of this consistent tone right here, that kind of earthy ochre. So pretty. I think that's just beautiful. Yeah, this one is, if you're a purple girl, this is the one for you. So very pretty. I mean, it definitely reads purple at a distance, but like all the Noro yarns, when you get up close, you see the complex color palette that's in there. And I think that's what makes Noro so absolutely fascinating. Let's see. Love them all. Yay. Megs loves the pink. Which color? You ordered us some already, didn't you, Megs? Which color did you get? Each one. That's so, isn't it true? I mean, it's so fun. I love to see these. I cannot wait to get something worked up in it. So, real quickly, I'm almost out of time. I had so much I wanted to show you, but I do want to share with you a couple thoughts I had on what you could knit with this. So, obviously, you can knit anything you want to with Noro, right? This is a bulky. So if you're looking for a project to knit with it, I would recommend Joji Locatelli's Easy Bulky one would be amazing in this. And remember that if you're working in the round with Noro, your stripes are going to be narrower. So that's not a good or bad. It's just something to know, right? I would recommend the Oxbow cardigan by Andrea Mowry. This is a perfect gauge for that. The garment that I have on is called Cream Crisp. It's very pretty with, it has these beautiful bell sleeves. And then the hem has a similar sleeve. So if you are looking for a sweater to knit with this yarn, and there are 2 from the current magazine, there's a vest and there's a vest and a cardigan, kind of a little curved lapel cardigan. And we're going to be going over all of the designs, not this coming week, but the week after. We'll have the trunk show. We'll be going over all the designs. But if you're thinking about this yarn and you're wondering what to make with it, when you do your search, look for the following 2 yarns. Look for Look for Obi and Iro. OBI, which is a discontinued Noro yarn that knits at the same gauge. And look for Iro, IRO, which is also a discontinued yarn that knits at the same gauge. Another one you could check would be Silk Garden Chunky, but that's an old yarn and it doesn't have very many patterns on Ravelry. but I think you'll find that there are a number of really great ideas that will inspire you if you look for patterns under those two yarns. I don't have time to show them all to you tonight, but yeah, I think that you would find something really nice in there. There are a number of them. Another thing is that I'm going to put together a little bundle, and if you're interested in that, just email me and I will send you a link to my bundles that would be good for this yarn. So, all right, let's see. Pullover pattern recommendations. Okay, so pullover, I would definitely go with the Joji Locatelli Easy Bulky one. It's very, very beautiful. It's super easy to do. It's a drop shoulder with a shaped shoulder. The sleeves are picked up and worked down. I have knit one. It's a really great to wear, and it would be really pretty. It's just the right gauge. Also, if you are a Cocoknits girl, Lee, it would be great in an Emma. Any of the Emma styles, the V-neck or the boat neck or the cardigan would be great in this. It's the perfect gauge for it. So have you done Cocoknits, Lee? Let's see what Betty has to say. Love the elegant neutral. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really appealing, isn't it? That neutral color. It's so hard to go wrong. You know, you're never going to tire of it. Not that I ever tire of Noro. I love it. Yes. So if you are coming to the Noro event, you will see all of them, and you'll get a chance to knit with them in your tasting. And we do have also those Noro tastings available to ship out. They are very fun. I'm super excited about them this year. I've been really excited about the presentation. I'll share that on Instagram later this week, but I think you'll really enjoy it. If you haven't already ordered one, we're selling a lot of them. So, and I have a limited number. So if you're interested, don't wait. Go ahead and get that. Next week, I'm going to bring you a beautiful woman who is an expert in Japanese wellness. And we talked all about wabi-sabi and Noro and Japanese wellness and all of those things that are Noro. And I'm very excited to share that interview with you next week. It will not be live. It will be recorded, but I think you'll really enjoy it. Her name is Saori Okada, and she is just amazing, amazing. So, all right. So, Cocoknits. Yeah, good, good. Okay. So, did I have any other questions about the yarn? We covered the fiber content and the gauge, 352 yards, so 700 yards in 2 skeins. And for many of you, that would be plenty for a Cocoknits. That would certainly get you the small size if you went with like a 3/4 sleeve. But if you wanted to be safe, 3 would do a Cocoknits for you. So that would be a very, very good option. All right. So thank you guys so much for being here. I enjoy being with you every Wednesday night, and I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, keep knitting and create something beautiful. Good night.